That's Womb from their new album, One Is Always Heading Somewhere. The sibling trio is notoriously slow when it comes to the creative process. Here are Georgette and Cello to explain why making this new record took the better part of 2 years.
Honestly, I thought this was quick.
Okay, everybody has different perspectives on these things. Fair enough, yeah.
No, I think our last album, like between our first and our second, was about 4 years. So we've
Oh,
tried
okay.
to
You,
close the gap on that a little bit. But yeah, I think we all live in different cities. Apart, or me and Georgie live here in Auckland, but our brother
right.
lives in Houston. So there's definitely a bit of a physical distance issue that is
Yeah.
can be challenging. Yeah.
So do you work mostly in the same room together or do you do things online or both?
It's like lately in the last year or two, since we've lived a little bit more dispersed, we've had periods of being in the same room, and then a lot of it happens
Right,
online and
right,
email exchange and little
right.
meetups here and there.
But the two of you are in Auckland full time now? Oh,
Yeah.
there
As
you go.
of last year, so it kind
Mm,
of coincided with us living a year here that the album is out, which feels kind of nice to
yeah.
Yep.
mark that way as well. Yeah.
And you mixed part of it, or you mixed it in Roundhead, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we worked with Stevens in Roundhead, which he'd really kind of brought the songs to life in quite a special way, which we were just really blown away by his work on the whole album.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the working process like between the three of you when you know that it's time to make a record and you've got a couple of years to blow? How does it start?
I think it generally starts with us each kind of chipping away. Like we'll each kind of be working on our own part of things. Like Juliet will be kind of working on like I feel like you like store up like a bank of like drum patterns and stuff. Do you think that's true?
Hmm.
And then Hazzy's always kind of making little like demos and like sound kind of based things. And then I'm kind of like working around like lyrics and that kind of thing. So then everything kind of comes together quite naturally. I think when we're like ready to, we're like, okay, I think we're ready to put these songs in. Like they feel like they're in the same world or something, so they're ready to be
Uh-huh.
in.
So it sounds
Yeah.
when I hear you talk about it, it sounds like you have specific roles that you guys stick to. Is there any blurring of the lines, or do you kind of say, "Hey, this is my job, it's yours"? That's not.
I would say there's like a lot of blurring. Like I think we
Mm,
each have our own kind of thing that we do, but like I feel like Georgette like will often like have really good ideas about like lyrics and kind of the feelings of the song. Like I feel like Georgette's very good at kind of pinpointing that. So like if a song isn't up to scratch, I feel like Georgette is good at like figuring that out, you know?
Right.
Um and like I think we all kind of
yeah.
blur and feedback and like we might not have like the hands to actually do it, but then we kind of can communicate and then we each kind of like go back to our own spaces in the band.
Mm.
Right, right. Right. And you've released a song called "Sometimes" as a single, which we'll hear the whole thing tomorrow. But the single is it seems like a very intense song, and I think I read that you wrote it on the first day of spring. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think that might be maybe the most intense song on the album. Do you think?
Definitely like lyrics wise,
Yeah. Yeah, it has a
maybe
bit
there's
of
some
like a
contenders.
yeah.
It's been a long time. 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 It's been a long time.
There's definitely like a potency in that. I think, and I think I like really feel with the seasons. So I think spring happened to open up a portal to like new kind of feelings for me, and the lyrics really kind of contained that. So
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Because you guys are originally from the States, right?
yes. We're from
Well, we're kind of from Australia, and
Right, that
Charlotte
too.
has
Yes. I was following your
yeah,
trajectory to New Zealand there. So I was
lived in
wondering, because I'm from the States and my sense of seasons is still rooted in that. I still can't remember where I'm supposed to be or what it is, but I've been here 30 years.
Always associate like June, July, August. I'm like summertime, but
Yep.
it's. I think because we've grown up in that, I think it really took a while to like be like, that is not summer. That is the exact opposite.
Yep. Okay, so we get through sometimes. So did you have discussions about how you wanted this album to be the same or different than what you've done in the past, music-wise? Have you been listening to other things that kind of triggered you to want to try out new stuff?
I think like I think we're always kind of like evolving in our sound. Like I feel like the next album we make it will have a slightly different sound, and then I feel like there is kind of this kind of core feeling or yeah sound behind a lot of our songs. So yeah, I think I really like the process of making albums because it's always a bit of the same and a bit of something new, and I think
Right.
that creates a blend for a new album. So yeah, I think with this one, I think we thought about it a little bit more as we went into it. I feel like we were like I don't know, like what do we want to make? And I think this yeah, I think this album we just like wanted it to be a bit more refined and like we wanted to work a little bit more on the production of things ourselves. So
Right.
we kind of production and then did all the mixing. So that was a really nice process to kind of create our sound more within our own means a little bit.
Right. And the album artwork is a photo by Has, right?
Yeah.
So tell me how that came to be the cover art.
Well, I was meant to be doing the album art because I've usually done that for
Right.
You might notice this is actually the last album art. This
Oh,
is my
that's
house.
nice.
The last holder of that last album art.
stuff had been going on and it wasn't coming out of me.
Right.
It wasn't I was work, a lot of art, and none of it was right. And then we kind of were like, what are we going to do? Because the time was ticking. And then Hazzy and all of us were like just looking through Hazzy's laptop, and we found some old photos he'd taken a few years prior to that, and then it was just right there, and we were like, oh wait, that kind of encapsulates the feeling quite well. Yeah, and then me and Hazzy went back and forth on some little sketches to go on top of it, and that's it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's very different than what we'd planned. And
Right.
I was like, maybe I'll make a stained glass, maybe I'll do a painting, I don't know. But then this is perfect.
Yep.
What has it? Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now the album opens with "One is always heading somewhere," and then it closes with kind of a reprise, but a longer version of it. So that gives one the impression there may be a concept involved or some thought involved in getting from A to D or whatever it is. Is there some truth to that?
With your mother in the sun, and somehow you could see into me like a flame that is still burning. One is always heading somewhere. One is always heading somewhere. One is always heading somewhere. One is always.
Yes, in a way, and then I think it just kind of very organically happened in like a way that was really nice for us because we kind of ended up having these two versions of that one song.
Yep.
First it was only going to be the first one on the album, like that version of the song, and then I think we just realized there was this other version that feels very different, and to end on that note felt quite beautiful and cyclical, but also kind of a good point of departure, I guess.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And your vocal on the opening track version is kind of this whispered thing, which is kind of what you do. But what kind of headspace do you have to get yourself into, and what kind of environment is happening around you when you're recording these things?
With the vocals, I actually am like pretty particular about them. Like, we had lots of like discussions about like re-recording some of the vocals where they probably could be a bit better and that kind of thing. But
Right.
I think often if a song feels like it has the emotional resonance for me that's like more important than the vocals being really good. So
Right.
with with like actually many of the tracks, it was kind of like I think with this song in particular, it was that I was in my old room in Wellington before I moved up here, so having that room as part of the album felt really special. And I actually I tried to re-record them here, but I was like going through a bit of a hard time, and I sound like so sad in those vocals. So I was like, all right, we can't put that energy into that song. Like, let's not do it. But yeah, I don't know. I think either like honoring the space that like the songs were written in is a
Right.
really nice way to kind of just being in the kind of present feeling of what that, felt like writing those lyrics, I think is kind of the key to them feeling authentic in song.
Right. 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 And how are you finding living in Auckland compared to Wellington?
We love it, I would say. Yeah.
Thriving.
Yeah.
We both like kind of moved up for love a little bit, so
Uh,
it's been really yeah. We're gonna get a second. Go for it and fit it.
and
It's
have
awesome.
you kind of found like-minded musicians to hang out with, or engineers, or whatever it is that's part of the musical community up here?
Yeah.
And a lot of thespians. We hang out with a lot of thespians.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's just like I mean it's the same in Wellington. There's like beautiful communities of people to that we were surrounded by in Wellington, and then there's that kind of beautiful thing where everything's a bit of a extension of one another in all the kind of different cities in New Zealand. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like same but new to move up here. And like yeah, really there's like a lot of amazing stuff happening up here. So it's really cool to be a part of that. Yeah.
All right. Have you gone to the power station yet?
It's actually just up the road from my house. It takes me about 10 minutes to get there, but
Oh, we may be neighbors then because it's also not far from my place. Yes, I was there last night for She Had.
oh, cool, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might try to go to that MJ Lenderman one on the
Oh,
first
that
of
should be a
April.
good one. Yeah, I'll probably be there for that. Yep. Yeah. That would be worth checking out.
Interesting about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you're writing songs, what inspires you? What do you want to write about? What are you trying to get across? Do you see something or hear something and go, wait a minute, I got to stop everything and write that down? Or how does it work for you?
Um, I think I'm really inspired in the way that like paying attention to things is like a very like active form of making art.
Right?
So and like love and attention are a very kind of bound thing. So I think a lot of this album is just trying to like pay attention to the present moment. That's kind of like probably the core kind of
Ah,
theme that into one album. But yeah, like the songs are they're quite personal and quite like they're almost like I think of them as a record of time. So it's kind of like that's that period in my life, which is why I say I will get quite stubborn like about changing vocals and stuff because I'm like
yeah.
no, that is what it is. I've sealed that off almost.
Yep, yep, yep. And does that affect you when you're singing older songs in front of, when you're doing gigs and stuff, and are there things that you don't want to go back to or things that you want to redo? Or
Like some I maybe would stay away from singing if it just doesn't really like if it really doesn't feel right. But I think the meanings can also kind of change and I can kind of have hindsight reflection on things. So in that way they're kind of constantly evolving with me, even though they're kind of this also just like a sealed off record of time. It's kind of like both things at once, I guess.
right,
Yeah.
right. Now, see, there's an
Also,
interlude. There's an interlude in the middle of the album, interlude number two, but I couldn't find number one anywhere. But was that just a kind of a mood changer or a chance for listeners to kind of catch their breath and take a little? What was the thought process there?
It's something that you had made in quite like a improvised experimental fashion.
mm,
And when we both still lived in Wellington, I could hear them making it I lived above them, their
Oh,
room, and I
right.
could hear
Kind of
like coming
scary
up.
sounding, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon it sounds like a really, I said this yesterday, but like a really kind of cool, beautiful group of cats singing, or like a bunch of cats with little tiny microphones. But I could
Right.
hear you doing like that's so trippy and like and then you just kind of knew later, like you already had it and you knew later on that it just needed to be there, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a phone recording. So again, I think it kind of it ties into that fabric of that era. So I think having a little kind of like a note almost just like left in the album, for me that feels like it really kind of like fills out the truth of that time or something.
Right. And it's followed by a song called Erosion. So is there a reason one follows the other, or is that or is there much of a thought process with the tracking, listing, and all that?
7 stars fell down to earth as the ceiling started to spin. How do I keep my head above the surface? I'd rather live like I'm untethered to this earth.
I think it was just intuitive. I think it was just like this feels right for
Yep.
these like to separate. I think it's just like waves, then interlude, then erosion. For some reason, that sequence felt really satisfying, and yeah, I think we're just like, yeah, that's it. Not think about it too much. I think that
Right.
sounds
And is
good.
there anything you want to say about the song itself, Erosion?
Erosion was it's like it's the oldest song on the album, so
Oh,
I
okay.
wrote maybe 21 or 20, something like that. So
Oh,
like it's I'm 30 now, so it's like 8 or 9 or 10 years ago. Um, but yeah, it's kind of a song that's like kept trying to come out in other albums and has never been ready or right. So I think we just had to like let it sit for a little bit longer, and then we finally found the version of the song that felt like it was ready and like worked within the world of this album.
right.
Yeah, and so I was really happy that it hasn't been ready until this album because I think it is the song it needs to be now. Yeah.
Right. Right. And are there other songs floating around in the ether that will be saved someday?
Like I feel like yeah, I feel like an album has to have something from the like even distant past. So
Right.
we're trying new songs right now, and there's at least two songs that are like really old, like 7 or 8 years old. So
Cool.
yeah, excited to bring them out of the depths.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Cool. Now you're doing some shows. You got one on the 28th, then you're at double whammy on the 29th. What can we expect from those?
Um, like a whole new set, we hope.
Yeah.
Playing these new songs. We will be playing with Hun Lynch as well at Double Whammy. So that's going to be amazing. That's really cool.
Yep.
Big sigh. And what's the venue?
It's at Te Rore Hall in Hamilton.
Okay.
And, Rowan Pierce is an amazing kind of like visual designer, so he'll be doing design at the Auckland and Wellington shows.
Right.
Adds a really exciting kind of visual element to our shows, which
Oh,
we're really
good.
looking. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And is it just the three of you performing, or are you augmented by others?
just the three, just yeah, just the siblings at this stage.
I, I I can't imagine being in a band with siblings. I have a brother and a sister myself, but we would kill each other. And there's a long history of it, of course, from Oasis to the Kinks to Heart. So,
We actually have like heaps of other siblings as well. So I always have this dream one day where I'm like, oh my God, we could have like a massive band with like it would probably be like 10 of us all together or
Yeah.
something. It would be
Right.
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
But
But we're
that'll
the,
be the dream.
what's
Sorry,
that?
sorry. What'd you say?
We're the only three from our mum. So
Oh,
we're
okay. Very good. And what does your mom think of the band?
Loves it.
Our mom actually said something really sweet. I think when we released our single Angels, and she sent us this email and she just said that we make the exact kind of music she wants to listen to. And I just thought I thought it was just I like saved that email. I look at it quite a lot because it's just such a beautiful thing to hear, and for her to make us and then we make music that resonates. It's like beautiful mirroring there or something. So yeah, we're very grateful to our mom. Yeah.